Hello everyone and welcome to Retail Archaeology. Today we'll be taking a look at Grossmont Center, one of my favorite malls in Southern California. Here's a look at the map so you can see how big this place is. And this is an outdoor mall, which I normally don't care for, but I really do enjoy them in Southern California just because the weather is so beautiful. I covered this place in a video about 3 years ago, but I was recently in Southern California again, so I wanted to stop by and see how things are going here. It really was a beautiful day when we were here. I think the temperature was somewhere in the mid to low 70s. Meanwhile, in the Phoenix area, the temperature at the time was about 115 degrees, so I was very thankful to be here. I was also really happy to be here because I finally got to see my friend Ian, who I haven't seen since this whole pandemic thing started. Oh look, here's a really nice fountain. And there are quite a few fountains kind of dotted throughout this place. Of course, this being the Retail Archaeology channel, we need to take a closer look at this fountain. I just love this shot. I love that blue tile. Another nice thing about outdoor malls is they seem to have kept their fountains if they had them. A lot of your traditional, indoor enclosed malls, if they're older and had fountains, they're probably long gone now. That was refreshing. Now, this mall has something else that I don't see a lot at malls, and that is a Target as an anchor. This spot was originally occupied by a Bullock's department store, but that closed in 1993, and this Target opened in 1995. Here's something else I don't see very often at malls anymore, a payphone. And not just a payphone, but it's actually a working payphone. I was trying to record the audio of the dial tone here, but for some reason I can never get my camera's mic to pick up the dial tone on these phones. It looks like for the most part this mall isn't doing any better or any worse than when I was here 3 years ago. I wouldn't exactly call it a busy mall, but the Target seems to attract some foot traffic into the mall, as well as a Walmart that's at the other end. This mall not only has a Target, but a Walmart as an anchor as well. And even though it's an outdoor mall, there are still some skylights here. I like that they have these covered areas like this. Now, I thought this was kind of interesting. There's a dress shop here called Preview, and right across from it is another dress shop called Preview. It looks like this one is more like bridal gowns and things like that. That time zone sign looks kind of old. I bet this shop has been here for a while. And speaking of things that have been here for a while, this mall itself has been around for a long time. It actually opened in 1961, making this place 60 years old now. It was developed by the Del E. Webb Construction Company and is currently owned by Rainbow Investment Company. I did find an article from 2015 where the owners had stated that they are eyeing to do some redevelopment on this place into a mixed-use property, which makes me kind of sad because this place is beautiful. That article was from 2015 though, and it doesn't look like anything has changed since I was here 3 years ago, so that's good. Now let's take a look at the food court, which used to be one of my favorite things here. It was added in 1993, and when I was here 3 years ago, it didn't look like it had been updated at all. There was some neon lighting, weird old food signs. Now it's just very bland. Certainly not 100% fresh, as that stupid sign suggests. Just bland colors and everything now. At least they left the tile though. Let's take a trip back 3 years ago though, so I can show you what I'm talking about. So this is footage from May 2018, and as you can see, the tile is still the same. And another thing to point out is that little convenience store that's right there, that's not there anymore. That spot's completely empty as of today. See, I love that neon clock, and that's not there anymore. It's been replaced with that dumb 100% fresh sign. And these are some of the food signs I was talking about that are now gone. I bet those have been there since 1993, and it's a shame that they're gone now. Here's a look at more of them. Even the bright yellow that you see on the walls and the columns there, that's gone now as well. I was really disappointed when I walked into the food court and didn't find it looking like this, like it used to. I just think it was a really bad decision to remove all this stuff. It really takes all the character out of the place and the history. As far as I can tell, nothing else has really been changed or updated in this mall. It's just the food court that they messed with. At least it's still here and open, though. I wonder when the changes were made. I couldn't find any information on the internet about when this was all changed up. Let's go ahead and return back to present day, though, and the bland version of the food court. Now that we're back in the present, I want to take a moment to plug somebody else's project. This isn't sponsored or anything like that. This is just a project that I think is really neat and I wanted to talk about for a minute. So over on Twitter, there's an account called Non-Standard McDonald's, which I follow, and I enjoy following quite a bit. They post all kinds of pictures and document all the different weird McDonald's locations that are out there that don't look like just a plain old McDonald's. And as you can see here, they've now got a Kickstarter going for a documentary they'd like to produce documenting all of the weird McDonald's locations in Florida. I don't think it's a big stretch to think that people who enjoy watching videos of old malls would enjoy watching a documentary on really weird McDonald's locations. So if this sounds interesting to you at all, I would suggest you go over to the project's Kickstarter page and just give that a quick look. As of the making of this video, they're about 50% to their goal, and I would love to see them make it because I really want to see this documentary. We'll now return to your regularly scheduled old mall video. We're right outside the food court now, and this is new. This wasn't here the last time I was at Grossmont Center. Looks like they put in a little outdoor yoga studio, and I like that they didn't rip the trees out, that they built it around the trees. It's kind of an interesting use of space. Now over here we have another one of the water features at Grossmont Center. And here's something I'm really glad that Ian was just pointing out to me there. There's a dedication plaque here to the first general manager of Grossmont Center. His name was Harold J. Logan, and apparently he was a man of high ethics and great dedication. I've never seen anything like this at a mall before. Nowadays, you certainly wouldn't find a dedication plaque to the first general manager of your local Walmart or something like that. It's kind of neat. Of course, we got to take a deeper look into this fountain as well. This one was deeper than I thought, and I couldn't really just plop my camera down on the bottom without getting my clothes wet, so unfortunately the footage is a little shaky. There's some change in there, though. Not a lot, but there's some. Now that's ugly. They just kind of peeled the food court letters off. I mean, I guess you can't really see it through the yoga studio, but still, I can't believe they didn't paint over that. In front of us there is the Macy's, and that building is one of the mall's original anchors. It opened up as a Martinsons originally and later became a Broadway, and then in 1994 due to acquisition became a Macy's. And I see a lot of that style Macy's all throughout Southern California, so it's interesting to see another one here. Obviously there were a lot of Broadway stores that Macy's purchased. Unfortunately, they do that thing at this mall where they put black coverings over the windows so that you can't see into the empty stores. But that corridor is kind of neat. It looks like an indoor mall. I love those little tiny storefronts there. They're like indoor kiosks. Man, I do love this place though. It's just beautiful. I love all the color. I love that it's so well maintained. I love that there's history going all the way back to 1961. This really is one of my favorite malls in Southern California. It's pretty interesting to walk through too because it's not a dead mall. It's not really thriving either though. It just kind of exists. I also like these covered areas all throughout. There's a lot of shade here for being an outdoor mall. So if it happens to be one of those like unseasonably hot days in San Diego, at least there's some shade to escape to here. There's a Cost Plus World Market here that was added in 1993, and I'm kicking myself for not noticing that that was there because I'm working on a video about Cost Plus and I would have checked it out. To the right there is a Barnes & Noble store, but that originally was a Woolworth store that opened with the mall in 1961. It closed in 1993, and then the Barnes & Noble booksellers opened in its spot in 1997. Those statues there of the kids kind of remind me of the statue of the kids playing that was at Paradise Valley Mall. I say was because if you weren't aware, they've started demolishing that mall. Even though this isn't really a dead mall, it definitely has its quiet corridors. The main strip up the center of the mall seems to be fairly busy and do pretty well, but then there's just these really quiet corridors that kind of shoot off. This particular quiet corridor had a store that I remembered from the last time I was here and I really wanted to check out. It's one of my favorite stores. Well, it's not even really a store, you'll see what I mean, but it's one of my favorite things in this mall. And here it is. It's the Grossmont Central Railroad. This is a really awesome model railroad display that's set up by one of the local clubs. Unfortunately, it was closed on the day we were here. I do have a lot of footage of it though in my previous video on this place. But thankfully they have one of those little buttons you can push to activate some of the displays in the window. In this window they've got an Easter display set up, which was a little odd because this was filmed way past Easter. This was filmed in June. But there you can see the train going by, and I love the candy eggs in it. Here's some more information on the club itself, and if you ever happen to be here when they're open, I would definitely stop in. The guys that run this place are awesome. They will talk your ear off. And they have all kinds of great stories. This is a really neat display too. I love baseball, so I love seeing the baseball field there. If you like model railroad stuff, you should definitely check out my video on the Whistle Stop store in Pasadena, California. I'm not into model railroads as a hobby, but I love miniature stuff and I love looking at model railroad displays. Now how cool was that? The train stopped right in front of the camera. I hope they're open the next time I'm here because I'd love to throw a GoPro on one of these trains. I bet it would make for really neat footage. In front of us is the Walmart, but what used to be in its spot was one of the mall's original anchors, and that was Montgomery Ward. Montgomery Ward closed in 2000, and then this Walmart replaced it in 2004. Here's another one of those quiet corridors. This is where most of the vacancies seem to be, is in these quiet corridors as well. Oh look, parked in front of the security office is one of those mall cop chariots? Those are weird. I think there's something special about this mall. It's 60 years old and there's been a lot of malls that have come and gone in Southern California in that time frame. Like I said, this mall definitely isn't thriving, but it seems to be hanging on. It's still here, and it's gorgeous. What are your thoughts on Grossmont Center? Is this a mall that you shop at currently, or is it one that you used to come to when you were a kid? I'd love to know down in the comments below. I know that, every time I'm in the San Diego area, I'll probably stop by and check this place out and see how it's doing. As always, everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my update video on Grossmont Center. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also make sure to follow at the social media links down there because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the Retail Archaeology channel.